Hello, welcome back to Adventures with Mary. I'm Mary. This is my dog Bella. I do the yapping, she brings the vibes. And by vibes, I mean sitting in the corner and sleeping. Welcome to my May recap video. I've been posting monthly videos, kind of recapping the month, the things that I've learned, the experiences that I've had as a girl in her 20s, while I try to get back into creating content on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of show notes today. I completely filled out my outline. I even went on the back a little bit. I brought materials with me. Today is going to be very full. We're going to be talking about the usual topics of health, finances, relationships, travel and entertainment, and goals or milestones, with a heavy focus on beauty, fashion, and the decision to move on. Starting out on a broad note, May was a really long month. I was telling my friend last night, I felt like it was 57 years long. It was so rainy in May. It rained almost every day here in Syracuse, New York, but at least it wasn't snowing. If it's gonna be a rainy summer, that's gonna be an issue. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But something I've been thinking about and experiencing a lot this month is the concept of beauty and fashion. Over the last couple of years, I've been kind of like changing up my style and really trying to find a style that works best for me. There was a time in my life where I felt really insecure in what I was wearing. I kind of had a thought that maybe I just wasn't dressing for my body type. So I've been really exploring different fashion styles. A look that I try to go for pretty frequently is like an off-duty model look. And someone that I look up to for fashion is like Princess Diana's like athleisure kind of style. So I picked up a book from the thrift store and I read it this month. I think she's such a beautiful human being. I don't really know a lot of her history, but I think that it was not just her beauty that made her such an icon, it was also her kindness and her generosity. I want to share a passage in this book with you because it really kind of struck me. This was written about her, I think, when she was about 35, so shortly before her death. It said that her happiness was evident. While she was blessed with great beauty, she was also cursed with low self-esteem. She, like so many of her contemporaries, suffered greatly to achieve the ideal of beauty paraded through the media. Until these last months, she had always been fully conscious of the impact of her appearance without ever seeming content with it. Although she loathed the clothes horse image that had become firmly attached to her in her early years as a royal and stubbornly refused to go away, she also loved clothes, and she knew it was partly her glamour which made her such a powerful figurehead for charities and campaigns. As she matured, she relied heavily on the armor of couture clothes, and some of the most enduring photographs taken of her may well be those of her simply dressed in trousers and shirt, walking through a minefield of Angola. While I understand that beauty is subjective, I think the overwhelming consensus was that Diana was a beautiful person. I think while she wore these beautiful clothes, she was also still so beautiful in just like her athleisure. But at the same time, while the overwhelming majority of the population thought she was this beautiful person, she was also very insecure. And I've been doing a lot of thinking this month about beauty being in the eye of the beholder and the confidence that comes when you realize people aren't looking at you twice. If you're dressed like a normal individual, people aren't looking at you and judging you. You're doing all the judging yourself. I've been trying to find a way to put on an outfit and be happy with it and know that no one's gonna look at it twice, and be confident in what I'm wearing and go throughout my day without being overly self-conscious about what I'm wearing. Speaking of wearing, I feel like I've worn a crew neck in like almost every one of these videos. This is my current favorite crew neck. I thrifted it for like $8. They're like little Polaroid rectangles on the front, and the tag is a Polaroid, and it says like in the tag it says like you look so cool or something like that. So I like the way it fits. It's my favorite. Starting out with our first of 5 topics, health. I think there are different types of health, whether that's emotional, social, financial health. Today we're talking about environmental health. I'm moving. This is the last video that I'm filming in my little house. And I'm like shaking while I'm talking about this. I've been in this house for almost 2 years. I love my little apartment so much. but I came to the realization this month that it is time to go. And part of the reason for that is my little brother moved in with me last February, and he goes to boarding school, but he lives with me on his breaks from school. And he lived with family last summer, but he's gonna live with me this summer. And I have this tiny little 1-bedroom apartment. Coexisting in a small little space is not really what's best for us. And my sister was also planning on moving and got an idea this month, like, what if we all looked for a place together? It made financial sense because if my sister and I were living separately, we'd be spending the same amount individually as we would if we got a 3-bedroom. So we're pooling our resources and we're all moving in together. It got me thinking a lot about this time last year when my brother first moved in with me. My immediate thought was like, I need to move, I need to find somewhere else to live. And ultimately I did not. But when I was thinking about moving a year ago, I had a very emotional reaction to it. And I realized, like, I'm not ready to leave my house. My beautiful little tree house. I call it a tree house. I'll show you here. It's a little messy, but like you can see all these trees outside. I wasn't ready to leave my treehouse, and that was a very emotional reaction for me. Like, I'm not ready to move on. I feel like I'm getting pulled out of this season of my life before I'm ready. And so it was so emotional. When the idea popped into my head this month, maybe we can all like pool our resources and live together, the reaction I had was full of peace and full of a bright outlook of the future. The decision to move takes out a lot of stressful points in my life. For instance, the idea of like cohabitating in a small space and where my brother's gonna live after graduation next year, like it checks a lot of boxes for us. Having an extra bedroom, having a place he can call his own and call home brings a sense of stability. It brings a sense of permanency. I think it's so beautiful that my house was here to give me stability when I needed it the most. And now I'm finally in a position where I can move on. And I can be grateful to these walls for seeing me through the last really heavy, complicated, messy year of my life. And now these walls are ready to send me on to my next chapter. When you come to the ending of a chapter, everything has like a heightened sense of nostalgia. That can make it so bittersweet. I think about all the little things in my house, like the spices on the shelf, the trees outside my window, the windows in my bedroom, the little teeny tiny low ceiling bedroom that I have, and all these different little pieces about it that have made it so special to me and truly a haven. And I am also really excited for the new space. When I toured it, I immediately felt this like overwhelming creative inspiration about all the different ways we can decorate it. And my sister is so excited about it too. And we have a whole vision board. I think that this is just such a wonderful opportunity for us. And while it is really hard, while I do feel like a little sense of like my freedom on my own slipping away, I do think that the pros by far outweigh the cons. And I am very optimistic about this new chapter. The next topic we're talking about is finances, and I have 3 things to mention. Number 1, I got new tires on my car this month. When I was talking to the tire people, they said it was gonna be $89 a tire, and they gave me a quote, and at the end I was like, are you running any sales? And they said, yes, we can give you the tires for $75 each. What? All I had to do was ask, and it was $60 cheaper. So my advice to you is, if you are ever getting something that's expensive, ask if they're running a sale or if there are discounts. That's all. I lowered my car insurance. I had a horrible driving record when I moved to New York. The only insurance company that would cover me was Progressive, and they were charging me a freaking arm and a leg. And so I called a different insurance company, and now I have full coverage for about half the price. So we got that taken care of. I'm continuing to take babysitting gigs. I can pay off my credit card. I took, I think, 4 babysitting gigs this month. So we're still at about status quo for the credit card. So that's all for the finances. In terms of relationships, I didn't go on a first date this month. I didn't go on a single date with anyone. I did, however, attempt to go to a speed dating event. Okay, another installment of Mary's going on a date. Going to a speed dating event. This is my outfit. Shoes. Look at the hairstyle. She's cute. I'm gonna take a little purse with me. I'm nervous. I'm going solo. I've never done one of these before. I'm scared. I have high hopes. The good news is I really like my hair, and my friend Juliana helped me pick out my outfit. So we're in good hands. We'll debrief afterwards. Wish me luck. I showed up to that speed dating event nervous and cute, only to find out that the event that I was trying to attend was the day before. So I did not go on any dates this month, and that's okay. I need to get myself out there more. My friends have been kind of talking to me about like, hey, Mary, would you ever think about downloading a dating app? I don't want to meet someone on a dating app. So if I don't want to meet someone on a dating app and I don't have dating apps, then I need to get myself out there meeting people. Clearly, I did not do very good at that this month, so we need to work harder on this. However, I think every single recap I've done this year, I've talked about the December boy. If you're not familiar, I dated a boy in December and January. I had the world's biggest crush on this boy. He worked 6 to 7 days a week, and he was like, I'm sorry, I can't keep seeing you. And I was like, okay, cool. It was not cool. I was very sad about it for a long time. Well, I deleted his number. I deleted his contact. I deleted his messages. And I realized that not all lessons have to come from negative experiences. Sometimes a positive experience can be a lesson too. I think I've grown a lot in terms of relationships this year. He was a lovely human being. He was not the one. I don't even want to meet the one right now. So anyway, he was a good story, and we are leaving him in the past. In terms of travel and entertainment, we're gonna start with entertainment first. Things that I watched or listened to this month. At the beginning of the month, I saw Little Women the musical with 2 of my friends, Bill and Maggie. By the second act, Maggie and I were just sitting in the audience like bawling our eyes out. I love Little Women. I think the Little Women story is so beautiful. I read it as a kid, but I think there's also so much more you can get out of it as an adult. I think I see a lot of myself in Jo and the way that she had these big dreams for her life. I felt sometimes like she was constantly like trying to like achieve these dreams, but had a hard time going after them because outside forces were kind of keeping her in. And I think a lot of that was like, or maybe they were even internal sources keeping her in. Like the way she struggled with the idea of her family changing and they weren't always going to be together. Her relationship with love and her relationship with, hold on, I journaled about it. Let me see, what did they say? I feel like I could relate so much to Jo wanting to do big things with her life while also wrestling with the change around her, the concept of love and being rejected. And mostly like Jo being rejected from publishing companies and newspapers. The actress who played Jo, she's actually an understudy, but she blew me away. You could see so much emotion in her eyes, and I felt like that was like a very physical representation of how I feel inside sometimes, just like this overwhelming feeling of existentialism. How did I get here? Where am I going? What is the meaning of life? What is my meaning of life? And things like that. It was just such a beautiful, deep experience. I watched Forrest Gump this month, first time watching it. I think I would watch it again to like really fully get the meanings behind it. I don't think I was able to fully digest it on the first watch. I felt like it was very emotional, very deep, very powerful. I thought it was so interesting, Forrest's relationship with his mother and who she was as a person and how she maybe wrestled a little bit with like understanding reality. Sometimes she made a comment to Forrest about how he's just like every other kid. There's nothing wrong with him, even though he was literally wearing braces on his legs. She also told the superintendent of the school that when the superintendent asked like, oh, is there a Mr. Gump? She said he's on vacation. And then Forrest asked her, what does vacation mean? And she said, it means when you go away and you never come back. It was a very interesting concept of her almost not having the emotional strength to face the reality she was dealing with. I think I would really have to watch it again to really understand all of the different themes, but I was very impressed with the film. I don't watch enough movies. I want to watch more movies. Also, I am listening to the first Harry Potter book right here on YouTube. Really great audiobook. I just never read the Harry Potter series growing up, and it was something I was interested in. I read the Hunger Games end of last year, and so I've been kind of looking for another series. So I've been really enjoying that so far. And on the travel section, I took 2 trips this month. I went to New York City to visit my friend, and I have a vlog that I think is probably going to come out about that. But in 2019, there was a trend that went around. It was called the Number Neighbor Challenge or the Number Neighbor Trend, I don't know. And it was where you texted the person with the same phone number as you, but the last digit was 1 up and 1 down. So I texted both of my number neighbors in 2019, and she got back to me and we met up for coffee, but I hadn't seen her in 6 years, and she was in New York City. She was like, you should come and see me. And there was only like one day that worked out for me, and it was Sunday the 18th. I flew down in the morning and I flew back that night, and it was such a fun trip. We went to the Met. She had some friends who were filming a music video for their band, so we were on a music video set. We just kind of bopped around, got bagels, got coffee, hung out. It was so great to see her. I really enjoyed my day in New York City. But at the Met, we saw the spring 2025 exhibition. It was called Superfine, Tailoring Black Style. If you're not familiar, every year the Met Gala is based on this spring exhibition. Just a brief explanation of the exhibit. The exhibit presents a cultural and historical examination of Black style over 300 years through the concept of dandyism. In the 18th century Atlantic world, a new culture of consumption fueled by the slave trade, colonialism, and imperialism enabled access to clothing and goods that indicated wealth, distinction, and taste. Black dandyism sprung from the intersection of African and European style traditions. This is where my notes come in. The exhibit showed how fashion shapes identity. It can be used to challenge authority and as a form of self-expression. As someone who was raised in a deeply religious environment with specific guidelines on how I as a woman should dress, the themes explored in this exhibit felt very personal to me. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've been changing my style over the last couple of years and really exploring my style and fashion and what I like to wear, how I can express myself in that. And over the last couple of years of finding my style, I believe that in my experience, experimenting with fashion and changing what I'm wearing has directly affected my ability to think for myself. And that is something that I would like to explore more in the future as it kind of develops a little bit further. But it was so striking to me seeing these themes explored in a very real way through history and culture, with how fashion is such a powerful tool. So that was my little saga on that. Continuing on our travel section, I also went to Cape Cod this month for Memorial Day weekend, and it was so great to be in the water, hang out on the beach with the sun. I met up with a friend that I had met last year on Cape Cod. I'm really grateful for the ability to travel and see different parts of the world. Now for goals and milestones. I filmed part of this video a couple weeks ago, a word from Past Mary. I did just kind of wake up, so it's kind of chaotic, but today is May 17th. I just hit 5 years smoke-free. I quit smoking cigarettes in 2020. My life was kind of in this really negative spiral in terms of like my mental health and my identity, like who I was. I wasn't working, I was trying to travel, but everything was kind of shut down. There was one point in my life where this was the biggest accomplishment I had achieved, and now 5 years later I've accomplished so many bigger things. If you want to kind of know the whole story, I shared my quit story on vlog 68 a few years ago, and back onto the rest of the video. And for the milestones part of this section, I think in June I would like to film something every day. That way at the end of June I can put together a whole video diary for June, and I think I might still do the June recap and have a little yap session. I think it would also be really fun to have just a diary. We have so much going on in June. I'm going to a friend's wedding at the end of the month. I'm moving halfway through the month, so just a lot going on, and I think it'd be really fun to have a little video diary. And that concludes all of our topics for this month. I do want to take a little moment here for the last episode of the monthly recaps filmed in this house, my little tree house. This little apartment really served me over the last year, giving me a sense of stability and safety and home. I feel really emotional. I feel really grateful for this period in my life. When I moved here, I was working a different job. I was still in a relationship, and one of the attorneys that I worked for told me, you know, I think it's really good for girls to live on their own in their 20s. And I had never lived alone at this point. As it turns out, it was a really good experience. I just signed a 1-year lease. I don't know where the next year is going to take me. I don't know if this is the last time I will ever live alone. I don't know if I'll stay in that house for more than a year. The future is so unknown. I think there's a beauty about the future being unknown. I think there's a beauty about the things that we leave behind. And a quote that's been coming to mind a lot recently is a quote that got me through a lot of 2021. It was a through line for the year that I moved to New York. And it's from C.S. Lewis. He says, "There are far, far better things ahead than the ones we leave behind." Oh, I'm gonna get emotional. I hope that's true. I think that life has proven that to me. I think that there are better things ahead than the ones we leave behind. But it's also so beautiful because if the ones I'm leaving behind are so beautiful and so wonderful and there's only better, like how much better can they be if they're already so wonderful right now? And again, I recognize that nostalgia is kind of like a pair of rose-colored glasses. I'm grateful for this space and the way it held me at a time when I needed it. And I'm grateful for the way my life has brought me to a place of strength and readiness to move on. So with that, thank you for watching. Wish me luck on my move. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, keep being awesome. I love you.